Good morning children, welcome to the online classes for the academic year 2021 to 2022. Now we are going to discuss one grammar topic. So the name of the grammar topic is adverbial clause. First you must know what is an adverbial clause. Okay, so before getting into adverbial clause you must know what is a clause, what a clause is. Okay, so what a clause is, an example, here three examples written. You please closely observe these three examples. As he raced down the wheat fields, he would always outrun the locomotives passing by. That is first example. When he heard the singing of some distant robins in flight, he knew it was his time to fly. That is second sentence. Since the other water had fewer misses, Michael needed to clear this was to win. Yes, this is third example. Okay. Now let us see here. First of all, as he raced down the wheat fields, he would always outrun the locomotives passing by. So the sentence here has two parts. So there is a comma here. From here to here, this is one part, and from here to here, this is another part. Okay. So this part is called a clause. And now let us see the features of a clause. Okay. For example, if we come to the features of this clause, it must have one subject, that is he here, subject. Okay. And it has its own verb. Race is verb. And other words. Race down the wheat fields. These are the other words. From here to here, other words. Okay. That means it has all the qualities of a clause. So, what is the quality of a clause? The quality of a clause is it has its own subject and a predicate. In predicate, we must find a finite verb. Okay. Yes. So here this is subject, this is a verb, and this is one part of the sentence. Okay. Yes. And here just see this sentence, this clause. He would always outrun the locomotives passing by. He would always outrun the locomotives passing by. This is also called a clause. Okay. Yes. So here this clause has its own subject and outrun has its own verb. Okay. Yes. So that's why it has its own subject and verb here and other words here. Since all of these things are here in this clause, this is called to be a clause. This is also called to be a clause. Okay. So this is one clause and this is another clause. Okay. Now let us come to the kinds of clauses. Okay. Yes, kinds of clauses. There are subordinate clauses. There are subordinate clauses. There are main clauses. Main clause, subordinate clause, and coordinate clauses. Okay. Here in this sentence, I have written two clauses. What are they? One is subordinate clause and the next one is a principal clause or main clause. Principal clause or main clause. So here, how can you define one particular clause is a subordinate clause? Yes. So that is the thing that we have to know. So you know conjunctions. So subordinate conjunctions. Okay. So conjunctions, in conjunctions also there are some kinds, subordinate conjunctions. Okay. What are the examples of subordinate conjunctions? For example, as, when, until, till, if, since, so etc. These are the examples for subordinate conjunctions. Okay. So if the clause comes with those or any of those subordinate conjunctions, any of those subordinate conjunctions, that clause is called to be a subordinate clause. For example, in the first part, here, where can we find subordinate conjunction? Here, this as is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, since this is subordinate conjunction, this clause is known to be, is called to be a subordinate clause. Okay, yes, this clause is called to be a subordinate clause. And here, this clause is a main clause. Okay, when here see, when we use a subordinate clause here, a subordinate clause does not give a complete meaning. It depends on the main clause. Okay, yes. So here, this is main clause. This subordinate clause depends on this main clause. For example, as he lays it down the wheat fields, what could happen as he lays it down the wheat fields? And it is an incomplete meaning. Okay, it doesn't give a complete meaning. What will happen as a result? What is the consequence of it? So the consequence is he would always outrun the locomotives passing by. Okay, so here this does not require any word to complete its meaning. Okay, so that's why it is called a principal clause or a main clause. Okay, so whereas this clause requires something to complete its meaning. So what is that something? It's a principal clause is required to complete its meaning. Okay, so since it depends, the subordinate clause depends on the main clause, so this is also called dependent clause, subordinate clause or dependent clause. So this clause is independent clause. It does not depend on subordinate clause. So it can stand on its own for its meaning. Okay, observe that for its meaning it can stand on its own. Okay, but whereas a subordinate clause does not stand on itself. Why? Because we are using a subordinate conjunction here. When we use a subordinate conjunction to any clause, that becomes a subordinate clause and that depends on the other clause to complete its meaning. Okay, that depends on the other clause to complete its meaning. So, where it will depend? So, it depends on the main clause. Generally it depends on its main clause to complete its meaning. Okay, yes. So, here this is subordinate clause, this is main clause. And here we can say this is subordinate clause because it comes with the subordinate conjunction as. And see the second, observe the second sentence. Okay. Next, when he heard the singing of some distant robins in flight, here I put a comma here. Okay. From there to here, it is also a subordinate clause because when is a subordinate conjunction. When is a subordinate conjunction. When we use a subordinate conjunction to any clause, that clause becomes subordinate clause. Okay, and here for this clause, and see the second clause. He knew it was his time to fly, and it does not require any word or any clause. Okay, to complete its meaning. Okay, so that's why it is independent clause. This is dependent clause. It depends on main clause to complete its meaning. Okay, yes. And next, look at the third sentence. Since the other Walter had fewer mistakes, since the other Walter had fewer mistakes, and from here to here, this is one clause. Okay, and Michael needed to clear this wall to win, and this is one clause. And from here to here, this is called subordinate clause. How can we say that this is subordinate clause? Because since is a subordinate conjunction. Okay, since is a subordinate conjunction. So since it has a subordinate conjunction, it is called a subordinate clause. Okay, and here it does not have any conjunctions. Observe that it does not have any conjunctions. Okay, yes. So that's why it is a main clause or principal clause or independent clause. Okay, yes, this is dependent clause or subordinate clause. Dependent or subordinate. Okay, yes. So these clauses, these subordinate clauses, yes, so these subordinate clauses can be divided into three types. One is adjective clause, second one is noun clause, third one is adverbial clauses. Okay, yes, I have given so many examples for subordinate conjunctions. Okay, so some subordinate conjunctions like as, when, since. Okay, yes, see, these tell us here the reason or time. Okay, adverb of time or adverb of reason. Okay, yes, so here since these conjunctions here, they are adverbs. Okay, since they are adverbs here, so they are called adverbial clauses. Okay, they are called adverbial clauses. Okay, yes, so here as he raised down the wheat fields, this one it shows that the reason. Okay, when he heard the singing of some distant robins in flight, this clause shows the time. Okay, that is called adverb of time, adverb of reason. This entire clause is a, it tells us a reason. Okay, that is adverb of reason. Okay, this is adverb of time. And since the other Walter had fewer misses, it is also a reason. Okay, and here the other clauses, okay, the main clauses, so if they tell a time, either time or reason or something else, here the other clauses means the independent clauses must tell the sequence. Okay, must tell the sequence. Here this is the reason and this is the sequence, this is the result. Sequence means, consequence means, sequence is not sequence, consequence. Okay, so consequence means reason. Okay, yes, so this is the reason, this is the consequence, and this is the time and this is the consequence, and this is the reason and this is the consequence. Okay, yes, so like that. So here, so those clauses are called adverbial clauses. Okay, yes, I think now you have understood the differences here, everything about everything. Yes, thank you very much for listening, and in the next class we will come up with some other topics. Thank you very much.